Hi there, I'm Mr. Movie Lover back again to talk about the movie Scream, based off of the 1996 film Scream, directed by Wes Craven. Let's see here. I think we're okay. Alright, anyways, this was like a recasting, reimagining, rebirth of the movie. Hold on a second. I thought I had this turned off. Okay. Hello. Yes, this is Mr. Movie Lover.
Do you like scary movies?
I mean, I'm reviewing the film Scream right now, so kind of. Why?
What's your favorite scary movie?
Wait, who is this?
It's me, Monkey Movie Lover. Sorry about that.
Oh, hey, what's up, man? What's going on? I'm trying to, do a review here.
I was wondering if you could do me a favor. Could you review the movie Galaxy Quest? I just watched the documentary on the making of it, and I was so excited to hear more about it.
I mean, kind of in the middle of something, but sure, why not? So, let's talk about Galaxy Quest. So what's up with Galaxy Quest? If you haven't seen it, back in 1999, the year Prince invented, we had a gem show up that was a box office and critical hit in the form of Galaxy Quest. It starred Tim Allen, Sigourney Weaver, Alan Rickman, Tony Shalhoub, Sam Rockwell, and Daryl Mitchell as a group of actors from a space TV show that ended over a decade prior, but the fans were obsessed with. Does that sound familiar to anyone? It should, because they were basically basing it off of the growing popularity of Trekkies, aka people who are fans of the popular sci-fi series Star Trek. Anyways, they meet some aliens that think they're real space heroes and are recruited to go fight in space, similar to The Last Starfighter. So first of all, this movie is hilarious. All of the actors were on point and working on it, and the writing and directing was excellent as well. But why? And how? And why? Well, let's start with Dean Parisot, who was a wonderful action comedy director. He previously directed the movie Home Fries, starring Drew Barrymore, Luke Wilson, and Jake Busey. And if you haven't seen that film, go find it. It's probably my favorite Jake Busey performance. But Parisot also later directed Fun with Dick and Jane and Red 2, both hilarious films. While his movie directing resume isn't quite as long as some others, that just means that his films are that much more golden. He brought a positive environment to the set that emboldened the cast to make suggestions and improvise. Even Tim Allen was noted as making suggestions because he wanted to make the sci-fi details just right, like wanting to make sure that the air on the alien planet wasn't poisonous before stepping off the landing ship.
Hey, don't open that! It's an alien planet! Is there air? You don't know!
Speaking of Tim Allen, he was the first cast to be hired, which caused Harold Ramis, who was originally hired to direct, to leave the project because he couldn't see him as that character. Can you believe that? He played Jason Nesmith, who was the William Shatner type character who played Commander Quincy Taggart in the TV show. He wasn't quite as odd as Shatner, but he was tired of being stuck as the guy who played the captain for so long, as was everyone else, but he handled it the worst. He needed a new rush, something to give him purpose again, which is why he jumped on the chance to be on the bridge of the real Protector. Sigourney Weaver played Gwen DeMarco, who played Lieutenant Tawny Dawson on the show. She spent most of the movie trying to find a greater purpose as well, as her main role in the TV show was repeating whatever the computer said.
No, we have no extra beryllium sphere on board.
Weaver has said that she felt more in common with the character of Gwen than Ripley from Alien. Tony Shalhoub was cast as Fred Kwan, who played Tech Sergeant Chen on the show. He first had trouble relating to his character because it was written as an Asian man, which Shalhoub was not. He then decided to channel David Carradine, who was a famous non-Asian Asian in the TV series Kung Fu. He also channeled how Carradine was in his own little world in that show, and then Kwan was always seen eating to heavily suggest that he was a guy who was changing his perspective off camera, if you know what I mean. Alan Rickman was also brought on to play Alexander Dane, a serious British actor who played Dr. Lazarus, the only alien on the cast. His character also seemed to reflect his own history of playing mostly serious roles, but he actually signed on because of the comedy. He thought the script was one of the funniest scripts he's ever read. His scene with one of the dying aliens was also so touching that it really grounded the movie. Sam Rockwell was dragged into playing the role of Guy Fleegman, the seemingly failed actor who was in one of the episodes of the TV show, but was trying to tag along with the rest of the cast to lift himself. That resulted in him being even more over his head when they were taken into outer space. Even though he almost turned it down because he wanted to focus on more serious roles, his performance along with Shalhoub's are probably my favorites. He plays the everyman who gets to react to the rest of the cast as an audience stand-in. Parisot had worked with Daryl Mitchell in Home Fries and decided that he was perfect for the role of Tommy Weber, who played Lieutenant Laredo. And because he was so much younger than the rest of the cast, they had to change his TV show character to a child, which added to the absurdity. The aliens, called Thermians, were led by Mathazar, played by Enrico Colantoni. He almost tanked his audition until he made a strange alien sound that he'd worked up, and they were so impressed by it that they hired him and had him continue to working on the Thermian sounds. The other main Thermians were played by Rainn Wilson, Patrick Breen, Missy Pyle, and Samuel Lloyd. And they did such an amazing job of performing these strange aliens that seemed human but just off enough to be weird. And lastly, we have Justin Long as Brandon, the Trekkie character. Along with Rainn Wilson, this was his first feature film performance. He sold the audience on how the characters were so famous still. He was given a copy of the documentary Trekkies as research, and also based his character heavily on the Simpsons comic book guy. He actually beat out Paul Rudd for the role, but Paul Rudd survived somehow. The special effects team had the big task of not only making amazing realistic spacecrafts for the second and third acts, but the cheesy, outdated special effects of the TV show inside the movie. Stan Winston Studios created the aliens, which looked plenty real too. So the movie Rugrats came out a year prior, while Galaxy was still in post-production, and made a huge profit by grossing $141 million in the box office with only a $24 million budget. The executives at DreamWorks took note of this and said, let's make Galaxy Quest more kid-friendly. It was reportedly rated R on the first cut, with a lot more crude humor, a scene where Weaver attempted to seduce one of the enemy aliens, and a hilarious drop of an F-bomb at the climax of the movie. They changed this to make it more kid-friendly, which would open up the pool of possible moviegoers. However, DreamWorks didn't really put too much into marketing for it, and they produced a mockumentary about the TV show inside the movie that aired on E! And the original trailer hardly had any special effects, which might have turned off some people. Still, they were able to pull in $90 million off of a $45 million budget, so maybe they just barely ran a profit? Later, this movie created its own cult following after it was released on DVD, which were just becoming the go-to medium at the time. But one of the main reasons for buying DVDs back in the day was to get all the bonus features with behind-the-scenes and commentaries. This movie's DVD had that, but it also had a hilarious feature that you could change the audio language to Thermian, and every spoken word sounded like a screaming frog. Awesome! To this day, it's one of my favorite movies, and if you haven't watched it yet, I suggest you go find it. You will love it! Well, there we go, monkey movie lover. Are you happy?
Very!
Well, maybe one day I'll get to actually review the movie Scream, but until then, I'm Mr. Movie Lover, and I'll be back again soon. Bye!